Hey guys, can you hear me? All right. Just have this as backup. All right, hello everyone. I'm going to talk about something a little different today. It's not that technical, but I think you'll enjoy. I'm going to talk about how to code your company culture, and I'm also going to explain what that means in a second. So, my name is Alex Wolkov. I'm a senior web dude at Funbox. Yes, senior web dude is actually my actual title at the company. And I'm also pretty active at Twitter, so you're welcome to follow me. Comments after this, you're welcome. And because they told me to start with a joke, some of you might remember me from 3 years ago, the last time Israel had this big front-end developer conference. I actually danced Gangnam Style on stage, so that's not going to happen today. And for those who haven't been there, and maybe you have seen the Mad Max movie, I'm going to yell out, "Witness me," and going to spray like a chrome paint all over my mouth, and we'll deliver this talk in shining chrome Valhalla style. And those who didn't understand the previous this is me. And those who didn't understand the previous two jokes, I have nothing more for you, so let's begin. All right. This is the best place I've worked at ever. All right, this is something I've actually heard from a coworker of mine. I don't think she's in the audience today. A couple of weeks ago, and I mean, wouldn't we all love to work in a place like that, right? Wouldn't we all love to have coworkers come to us and say, "Oh, this is awesome. I enjoy every day of coming to work." And there are some stuff that you can't control, like office locations and salaries and benefits, unless you're way, way high up the chain. Those belong to HR. But as front-end developers, there are some stuff that you can do. And I'm going to talk about those stuff today. I'm specifically talking about side projects. All right, so the big circle obviously is your day-to-day, your tasks, and I'm going to talk about side projects a bit. So you might ask yourself, why bother? Why should I do these side projects? What's in it for me? I already have scrums, and I have my tasks, I have this agile board, I have the PM breathing down my neck. I already work 10, 12 hours a day, I have kids at home, whatever. And that's a great question. I'm going to try to answer it today also. So the first thing on my mind as I come to answer this question is just give your mind a break. Just take a break from your day-to-day. And as developers, you might know this kind of thing that happens when you stop and you take a break, your subconscious keeps working, right? So you might have an answer to this super difficult question you have come to you in the shower, like this aha moment, right? I know how to solve this. Side projects are a great way to kind of keep your subconscious on the backfire and like work on something else, and then solutions to your like day-to-day stuff will come to you. So the big one I said is your day-to-day, right? So in your day-to-day you have deadlines, and you have product requirement stuff, and you have stakeholders, and you have code reviews, and you have this whole bunch of other stuff. And side projects are fun because you're the boss, right? So if you're doing a side project, probably nobody's going to say you should do this or that. Besides me, that's what I'm here for. And there are no deadlines. Well, in most cases, there are no deadlines. And they're really fun to do. And there are some bonus points, which I'm going to say in a bit. The really fun to do part comes from just making something cool. All right, so let me go back for a second. So the really fun to do part comes from just making something cool. I think Martin mentioned it yesterday in his talk that kind of there's his day job, and then he tries to work on these cool hacks, and it's like creativity for him. Creativity flows. The greatest benefit for me personally from side projects is picking up a new skill. All right, so you might say to yourself, well, I don't know, let's say, Gulp or Webpack or IO.js, which is Node apparently now, and you really want to dive in, but your day-to-day we work with PHP or Python. And so side projects are a great way to pick up something new, dive in, and just like learn a new skill. This is the great benefit for me. And the biggest benefit overall is enhancing your company culture. So let's say you've built a cool side project. Your teammates love it, kind of your boss loves it. And what you do is you promote this idea of, well, I can build things that aren't in my day-to-day that will enhance the culture. Also, if your company believes in open source and like in-company, inside open source, so you can just put it on GitHub or your internal, whatever SVN, whatever you work with. You should work with GitHub, by the way, it's awesome. And people will contribute to it, right? So people love to, like, we all know this, right? People love cool projects that are already there and are already cool, and they love to contribute. And you will get pull requests, and you get feature requests, and it'll be awesome. You just enhance the culture. And if it's really good, you're going to release it to open source and like have eternal glory for your company because you've released this super cool side project. All right, so what can you actually build? I'm going to showcase some examples of my side projects, and I'm going to show examples of some other companies, and in hopes to get you inspired, in hopes to kind of make you go out of your shell and just do these things. All right, so first on my list is our bots, specifically bots for your team chat, and specifically Hubert, right? For those who don't know Hubert, Hubert is an open source project written by GitHub. It's an Node.js and CoffeeScript kind of robot that runs and connects to your team chat and responds to commands and has basic interface. And it is very extensible. It's very, very extensible. You can download it over here, or you just search for Hubert at Google and you'll find it's on GitHub. So Hubert is easily integratable into any team chat you might have. So if you don't use Slack, you should, but if you don't, HipChat and IRC works, and XMPP and Skype, and I think even iMessage, I don't know how. WhatsApp doesn't because they don't have an API. And the best part about Hubert is its amazing community and it's how much it's extensible, right? So Hubert has this concept of scripts. That's how you contribute to it. And when you go to NPM and just search for Hubert, you have above 1,000 results. And there are scripts for most anything you can imagine that you can do with chat. And I'm going to showcase some stuff today. And the documentation of Hubert is very, very easy. So you can set up like a running Hubert on Heroku in under 5 minutes, I think. It's really, really easy. And creating your own script is also easy, right? So in this example, this is the whole Hubert script kind of skeleton, right? This is actual code. This is not pseudocode. You have this robot object. You say .respond. You give it a regex, say ping. And then the function that it returns, it should say message.send, and you respond back to the chat, you say pong. That's it. That's working Hubert script. You throw this in the Hubert scripts directory, you start it up, and your Hubert responds to pings. And this is its version in CoffeeScript, and most Hubert scripts, because of the project, they're written in CoffeeScript, so it's that much easier. It's just 2 lines, basically. The model exports part you know about. All right, we use a mix of custom scripts at Funbox and some of our own, but I'm not going to go over custom scripts. I'm going to show you our own. So this one is, I bet you all know what can I use is, right? So this is a way of using can I use from inside our chat, right? So you write, skip is, by the way, is the name of our bot. You can give it names. And don't ask me why skip, it's an internal joke. But you can use, like say, can I use border radius? And you get the results right in the browser. And when we're like in a front-end chat room, whatever, we don't need to go to outside sources. We just can, like, if we have a debate of what works in which browser, so that's what we use. I've open sourced this one. I released it to NPM as well. You can NPM install Hubert can I use, and just you will have the script in your team chat as well. All right, so this is funny. We have a team channel for administrative stuff, and like people use it to notify others when they're sick or when they don't feel so good, or when they take like a break from work. And it quickly became kind of a sad channel where people say, "Oh, I'm sick today," or "I don't feel so good." Nobody would respond because they don't respond. So Skip, it's now his job to respond. And if somebody's coming in and saying, I'm feeling a bit sick, I'm not coming in, he will respond and say, hey, feel better. And this is the code it uses. It's super easy, right? This is a bit of kind of pseudocode, so if you see some mistakes, don't worry about it. But the basic thing about it is you give it a regex about, you give some keywords about I'm at home, I feel sick or something, and then there's an array of random wishes. And the best part about this being open source is people go in, pull requests, and like create new wishes for people, right? So please don't die, something that I added, but other people kind of add their own responses. Sometimes you get surprised. and then you say message.send, hey, username, and just a random wish from the array. That's it, right? This makes people kind of notice when they're sick, and I've actually noticed that people started to see problems with this regex. So they would say, I feel feverish, and this regex won't catch it. So they will like write specific sentence, so Skip would answer, so they would say thanks. It's really funny. And all right, so the previous one was kind of, I have one point regarding the previous one. I've actually, as I was writing this talk, I thought about extending it a bit and say, kind of add the functionality of Skip remembering how many times you were sick this month, and then at the end of the month, he will just say, hey, Skip, was I sick this month? And he'll tell you, yeah, you were sick like 6 days on these events, and sometimes you need to fill out this form, he will help it. And some scripts are just for fun, right? Some scripts have no purpose whatsoever, like this script. It's complement/insult. You say skip complement Angular, because I like Angular. And it says, hey, Angular, I like your jacket. This can be a mention of somebody on your team. This can be a concept you don't like. This can be, I've noticed a bit of a hate towards jQuery in this conference, so this can be jQuery for you. And this is the other side of it, right? Skip insult Internet Explorer, like we all love to do. It says, hey, Internet Explorer, learn from your parents' mistakes, use birth control. And this is a lot of fun, but this serves no point other than just being fun, all right? And people love to use it. People insult each other. And the concept is exactly the same as the previous one I showed you, right? This is mostly 3 lines of code. It's just a big array. I went on Google, I searched for funny insults. I tried to sift through it, but there's like thousands of them there. I hope they're non-offensive. And I searched for compliments, also the big array, and just according to insult or compliment, it just picks a random from this array. It's really easy to do. People really, really love this one. And it's hours of fun. I've also released this one. It's on Hubert Insulter and npm install. And if you don't get it, don't worry. You can follow me on Twitter. I will release the links and slides later. All right, so chat ops. I'm not sure how many of you know this term. It's coined by GitHub, and there are a lot of developer kind of relations talking about this concept. The concept of chat ops is connecting your continuous deployment, continuous integration stuff, whatever you call it, inside your chat, right? So you might say something like skip deploy funbox to staging, and there's an API request that he sends to our build server and says, all right, start this build. It will say back, all right, I'm deploying your whatever to your whatever. This is really, really a great way to kind of embrace the continuous integration culture inside your company, right? So people often don't usually like to go inside kind of Jenkins and inside Team Cities and other build systems and stuff, unless they look cool. So this is a way for you to kind of circumvent that and really like everybody in the channel, they're talking about it, somebody say, right, deploy, boom, you deploy on the spot. So this is chat ops, and this is like really awesome since we implemented it. Next up on my list of examples, dashboards, and specifically dashboards for your startup. All right, so TVs are so cheap nowadays, kind of, I bet your office has 1 or 2 or 3 on the wall somewhere. You probably showcase some stuff there. And dashboards, they really tie a room together, right? Especially like great looking dashboards. They're like a live infographic of your site. Everybody loves like a good dashboard, and except when they look like this, or this, or this, and kind of, I just Googled random dashboards from random offices. I don't know who she is, but kind of seeing just Google Analytics in its unreadable format on the dashboard doesn't make me smile, but surely as front-end developers we can do something kind of better than this, right? So how to create a great looking dashboard? My first thing would say just choose the proper metrics, right? So in the previous example we saw just a bunch of different data and tables and something that you can't even see. But getting the right metric can really make an impact, right? So from our example, there was some stuff that's relevant to our company that people started actually coming in every day and seeing and watching and saying to other guys, listen, this metric went up, this metric didn't went up. The metric should be instantly recognizable and shouldn't be static, right? Because people don't like just seeing static numbers. For example, your weekly revenue, right? So you can connect it to the database and then when somebody makes a purchase, it goes up instantly. It might make a sound like cha-ching and everybody will clap and have a great time. Something like registrations per week. Or if you're kind of more of a small team that's oriented towards continuous deployment and development, maybe requests per minute on your site right now, live, with the gauge kind of changing on the spot, or stuff like how many times you deployed today. Right? Also, and this is kind of a side note, don't worry about choosing the metrics kind of if you don't know, if you're stuck and say, oh, I don't know what to choose, if it's good to my company or not. Don't worry about it choosing too much, because people, after this dashboard is up, people will come to you and say, listen, we need this or this, we need this metric instead of this one, we need to change this or something. People will respond. And make it TV ready, right? So dashboards belong on big screens and make it TV ready. Use big fonts and use lots of contrast. I try to use in contrast here, but it's okay. And make it look good. Please make it look good. Don't make it look like just I dumped a bunch of data on the screen. There you go, because nobody will enjoy it. People will come to it like they won't be able to see the small font and everything. All right. So another thing, there's this user experience concept that's called the 10-foot user interface. You might know it from, let's say, XBMC or Plex or kind of console UIs or other stuff, like a big user interface that belongs on screens in your living room. It talks about an interface that should be usable from about 3 meters away, right? 10 foot is about 3 meters. This is a picture of our lounge, and it doesn't show in this picture, but from where we sit, we can see every little detail and every little kind of metric on our dashboard. And it should, like this interface should apply to your dashboard as well. It should be big, it should be bold, it should be like understandable from 10 feet away. And maybe my most kind of good point about like building a dashboard in like as a side project is don't reinvent the wheel, right? So focus on customization instead. There are a bunch of solutions that are already made that you can use, stuff like Duck's board or a Gecko board, and it's enough work to kind of get a ready-made product and just tweak it so it will fit your company. So don't just build a new framework for a dashboard from the ground up. One great open source, that's the one we use in the previous photo I showed you, is dashing.io. Dashing.io looks like this. It's by a company called Shopify, and it's in a Ruby backend and some CoffeeScript, Batman.js on the front. It doesn't really matter. So this is a great way, for instance, for me was to pick up Ruby, because until this project I haven't touched it, and well, I learned a new thing. It has a kind of Ruby jobs on the back end. They run like in scheduler. They're sending data to here. It's all push API and real time. It's really awesome. It's pretty easy to get started. Of course, not all dashboards are made for big TVs. All right, so this is something that's called Bless Contrib. This is a GIF. I hope it works. This is by a dude called Yaron Nave. I hope he's in the audience. If you are, come say hi afterwards. This is a dashboard for servers, right? You might have seen this. It's in Node.js. You run it in a terminal, you install it, and you have like this beautiful old, like Hackerman style dashboard that you can, if you feel really kind of old school, you want to put this on a big TV also, and it will look good. It's mostly for terminals. And All right, so another example I have is Seedly is a French startup, French web shop, and they did something kind of extraordinary. All right, they took a bunch of Arduino computers, they connected their sensors to pretty much everything in their office, and I'm just going to show you how it looks. And they created like a live dashboard of their current state of the office right now, right? So how many steps people have taken, how many rolls of toilet paper, how many cups of water, how many degrees it's in the office right now because it has like a temperature, how many times somebody opened like a refrigerator door. And they even wrote like a custom keylogger that sits on everybody's computer and just logs how many times you say Command Z, like how many times you undo stuff, and just logs it in there as well. This is live as we speak, right? This is live every day. You can go to dashboard.seedly.com and see it. It's an amazing piece of front-end work. Every widget here is kind of super customized. You can open it and see it throughout the history. It's really amazing. So this is an example of dashboard that's just, it kind of blew my mind. Another thing you can do is just extend the web, all right? So when I talk about extending the web, I'm not really saying like Douglas talked yesterday about changing and stuff. I'm talking about Chrome extensions, right? We all know Chrome extensions. You probably, a bunch of people here use more than I use. I don't know if you know this about Chrome extensions. They're written in JavaScript, and they're pretty easy to jump into. Right? And it's a great way to take on a side project and just extend your company's culture. So a quick shameless plug here. I wrote this site. It's called extensionizo.com. It's like an HTML5 boilerplate, but from Chrome extension, you go, you click a bunch of buttons, you download a ready-made Chrome extension, you can start, has a background, image, everything. You can go here. And so you all know about Chrome extensions. I'm not going to talk about those that will help, and they're already made installable. I'm going to talk about some stuff that we built and had a great effect on our culture. Right, so first one was kind of easy. We tried to help our customer support team. So this is a GIF from our customer portal, and you see the searching for customer. It's a Chrome extension that just looks for an email, sends an API request to our backend office, and just puts the link, if it's our customer, puts the link right there so the support guy won't have to copy, go to there, search there, and find it. Just a link to there. It's super easy, and it made their life like much better. People came up to me, oh, thanks, it's awesome. Another thing was born out of necessity. I don't know how many of you use GitHub for your day-to-day. We use pull requests to do code reviews, and because sometimes code reviews involve a bunch of people, and from a bunch of different kind of front-end people and back-end people, there are sometimes a bunch of Python code that I'm not supposed to go over because I'm just code reviewing this JS and CSS stuff. Or when we use Sass and the output is like 7 different CSS files, I don't want to go over them because it's not relevant, it's output code. So I built an extension that lets you just filter out diffs by the file extension. It's already up there. You can search for GitHub diff or diff helper, and we all love to use it. You just filter out what you don't want to go over. It's really nice. I can't imagine myself working with kind of GitHub pull requests without it. And while the GitHub stuff was kind of difficult, right? I had to use GitHub UI. I had to detect they use PJAX or something. I had to detect like changes on the page. Your extension doesn't have to be like really a massive JavaScript thing to have a great impact, right? So this is, you see the little red thing that says prod environment? This is an extension that a co-worker of mine wrote. She's actually in the audience. And all it does, it detects by URL that you're running like a production environment, like that you go to our live site, and just warns you to not register. Because sometimes developer would register on the live site when they didn't mean to. They meant to register on the local, and they look the same. So this warns you. This saved my kind of ass from registering about 5-7 times. And all it is just detection of URL, which comes by default in Chrome extensions, and a bit of CSS. Right? It's simple but very effective. And the last point about Chrome extensions is that they can be limited, right? Not many people know this, but if you build a Chrome extension, it's very specific to your site. It has like kind of AJAX requests to hard-coded backend APIs that you don't want to expose to other people, you can actually go to Chrome Web Store and you can limit extensions to be installed by people from a specific Google group. So I found out about it kind of, I think, a year ago, and it was awesome because only the people I want can install this extension. So you don't have to fear that this extension will leak and somebody will read the code. Last but not least on my list of examples is just make a website. Right? This is like, we all know how to make a website, that's why you're here. Just pick a topic that's often covered in your company and just as a side project, just make it into a website. All right? So for instance, onboarding new employees. All right? So this is something that happens in, I think everybody here is hiring or something and they're looking for other people. So every team grows, and as it grows, you want the new teammates up and running really fast. So I created a small website. This is how it looks. It's nothing fancy. It's just a bootstrap, kind of from the free bootstrap sites on the internet. And I customized it a bit with our fonts, with our color, with our custom graphics. Not that much. It's basically the same bootstrap theme I downloaded. I asked around in our HR and asked around what do new employees need to know on the first day. And I put it in stuff like communication, where I talk about that we use Slack, security in accounts, stuff that's important on the first day, say Wi-Fi password or stuff like that. And this is every new employee goes in here, and this was like a real hit. People love coming in after they read this. They know a lot of stuff. They hit the ground running, and it was really awesome. And the best part of a great company culture is that you get to embarrass your teammates by putting pictures like this. and they will forgive you, right? So go code your company culture. I hope I have inspired you, or come join ours. Thank you very much.